Hi, I had a request to illustrate how to transcribe data from a variety of lab reports over to microbiome prescription. Keyword here is transcribe, not upload. Majority of different labs out there produce a report which is often PDF, which is not suitable for dozens of different reasons to be able to be directly uploaded to be. Actually, most of them can be, but you're talking about 1 week of developer time, which is a very expensive thing per report at least to get it up there, and even then it's going to be not as reliable as you will. It takes a lot of mischief. But okay, let's take a look at the reports. Here is a list of the reports, and there's a fair number of reports, and the intent all the ways is to use the best available data, understanding that there are inaccuracies with it and maybe parts may be incorrect, but use the best available data both from the lab results and from published medical studies to generate the most probable suggestions. I'm not a medical professional. I'm a operation research person, AI person, software developer, etc. I know how to do logic and probability to data, and that is where my skill is. It is not telling people, giving people medical advice, and generally I will not give medical advice because I'm not qualified for it. I will calculate what is most likely to help, and the feedback I've gotten is that generally the expert system, not me, the expert system does a very good job of calculating things that actually cause positive changes. Generally, it seems better than most professionals in the area. So we have a whole stack here, and what I'm going to do is look at a new lab I just got requested called SynLab, which is available across Europe and a ton of different countries. And let's just take a quick peek. As you can see here, SynLab is available for a whole bunch of different European countries, available in Africa, in Asia, the Europe list, which you see already, and then we have South America. So it is a lab which a lot of people could potentially use, and more importantly, the report is now able to be uploaded to microbiome prescription to generate suggestions. So I'll just move that piece of unintentional advertising out. So my suggestion is generally the first thing you do is you print off a hard copy, especially if you have a smartphone, an Apple, an Android. Print off a hard copy and then go through them with a pen, circle each and every item which you highlight. This report I'm working with is in Italian. Alta, high, scarce or low, and normal. So there. Next thing you go through is go through and take a look at ones where your high or your low are double the high level in this case there, and put 2 arrows up there if it's more than double, 1 arrow if it's just there. Similarly down, 2 arrows is down, half of 0.229 is zero point 0.1 and you half of that, so you could actually do 3 arrows. The whole purpose of writing on this hard copy is to allow you to focus more on inputting. It's well worth the hassle of doing it. Then we're going to hit the third part, and this particular lab report is beautiful for showing what the frustrations I'm facing is. If you first of all is microbiome prescription uses the NCBI taxonomy browser. Different labs use different naming conventions, and sometimes there is no match. Often there's no match. For example, here we have something called a CAG 170 there. That doesn't exist in the taxonomy browser. That comes from a different convention of naming bacteria, and there's no clean, easy match from one to the other. Other cases, you have something here with an A after it. That means they have taken this particular genus and have, for one reason or another, because they probably thought they knew better, divided into 4 or 5 different subgroups and will report on each subgroup independently. That's nice. I will not get any academic argument which one is better. The catch is the NCBI numbers are what is most commonly used in the literature, which is what I'm using to generate suggestions from, and it is used by most, if in fact, just about all the labs which I support direct uploads from. So that is something to be aware of. Your lab could be doing a alternative naming. Some cases they are using very old-fashioned names, which creates problems. So I didn't illustrate the issue here. Some cross out for things, anything with the word CAG in front of it is a cross out because there is absolutely no match. Things with strain numbers or just whatever this additional fancy naming convention is crossed out because you just won't find that. Okay, so now let's go through, and now that we see an overview of it, let's go over and take a look at the report. This report will go and in the beginning section gives and say, okay, here is what your value is to you, and here's the normal value, and I'll go through and give a chart. Now that doesn't really help because the question is, this is what normal single value is, but it's not a normal single value, it's a normal range of value. And that is where you can get things, I'm above here, I'm high. Actually, you probably are well within the normal range. Here, are you low? You may or may not. Are you high? You may or may not be. Here, you could make something you're low. No, we need to actually have some hard numbers. And to do that, we have to scan down further in the document. And we go down for a number of pages until we hit a section called, in English, would be Microbiome Profile, Profilo Microbico, excuse my Italian, and there you will see listing. What we have is we have the names, and we have the keyword, we have the interval. This is the range of value. So in this case, the first one which we saw, you appear below, well, U44.9, you're well within the range, and it says nicely over here, you're normal. That's good. Okay, now let's look at transcribing. I go to the microbiome site, click upload the samples, and then we have the whole long list, and then we find the lab we're working with, which is here. We have 111 possible bacteria to enter it, which is, it's a good lab compared to most of them. I see it's not the highest, but it's pretty close to the highest number of bacteria there. And now we have thing. Now we go in and we proceed to do it, and the first thing you do is we end up walking right into a little bit of joyous fun, as in I see Firmicutes here. I don't see Firmicutes over there, and the problem is generally naming conventions. And let's go down and wait until we find something which we actually find a match, and that is this one here. So we have this as a reference point, and over here we have this as a reference point, and we have that sparse. And taking a look at that, and we see that is it's roughly just within half of the range, so we mark that as low. Now we have two above it which we are needing to do it, and generally we end up having to go over and see if we have a match somewhere over here. And in this case, Pseudomonas is, I believe, the protobacteria, or what used to be called protobacteria. That's normal, so we have nothing, and Bacteroida, which is up here, and we have that one being high. And how high is it? It is less than double high, so simply marked out one as high. Okay, so we have there, we do have some, I'm not sure if you can enter. If you can't enter it, forget it. And now we go down to the next one, which is Uricata, which is sitting here, and it is a little bit high, so we mark that one high. And we go down to, or we go down and try finding, well, let's see, we find cyanobacteria, Next one is missing, and that generally means that this definition here doesn't exist. So we don't worry about it. Again, we only concern about matching the ones which we actually have clear matching. Now here are one Privitella. And if we go over here, we see that one is extremely high, remark here. Now, the problem you will encounter is Privitella may show up 4 or 5 times with different numbers after it. And which one they intended, we are generally without a clue. So your choice is you can pick the one which is looking the worst or the one that's looking the best and work with it. That's your choice. At the moment I'm working with this one, I'm marking that one's high, and partially because of no Privitella being that high is a health concern. And then we go down to Pterygium crosslinka, and that one is high also, and that one is again very high, extremely high. And we go down to the next one, and again, this is a Privitella, a different one, and we have that one high, but we already have done that. Again, you see we have different Privitella, all of them are high, and we have marked it high, so we don't worry too much. Another one, and now we go down into Astrobacter, and that one is high, it is very high. And CAG we skip. Corpus Usus, there we go, and we have that one. Oh, it's normal, nothing to do. And Hodemia, and this is roughly 2 times there, and there we have it. Oh, nice to find the exact match. We go down, and Rheumatococcus, and Rheumatococcus is high, and it's very high. When we have 0 being the upper limit, generally I just do 2 op, not a 3 op. Bacteroidori, which doesn't seem to be there. Okay. Oh, it's normal, which is not a particular concern. Privitella, that once more we have that. Blateobium, we have that. Again, if you cannot find a bacteria like this one up here, it is usually because there's no ability to sort out a reasonable match. Barium is normal, as in that one. Now we go down, and Smithy is the next one down the list, and we go down and there we find Smithy, and it is just a little bit high. And Blottia is the next one, and Blottia is very high. It's 4 times the suggested value. And again, going through and skipping normal. The final Salveria, there we have that one, and it is very high. And Lactospira is very high. And we have the next one is again a non-match. Urbanium is sitting there, and Urbanium is normal for get out one. Next one is again nonsense, not nonsense. Don't have it. And Bacterius cellulitis. There we have that one. And that one is high. It's very high. Blontia Waxia is the next one on the list, and that one is a little low only. Next one is high. Next one is high, almost very high. Holly, we have that one, and that one is roughly double, so we've marked that one as very high. Doria longia is normal. A bunch of normals. No doesn't exist. You can usually tell if the name isn't a plain Latin phrase at the beginning. It is not likely to be found. Solarium over here, and there we have solarium. And solarium is very high. And always stripes. Zagronium, there we have it right there. And that one is again very high. Actually, I put it marked it extremely high. Blottia, and that one's normal. Excuse me for taking my time to go through the whole report, but it is good because it will also find this couple of what I call sleepers in this report, where we have complexities of it. Parabol is normal. The egg, that is a little high. And fish bio is there, and actually that was earlier, and a different species featuring was normal feature. So we don't have that listed in because remember we're keeping sequence. So if it's there but elsewhere, generally we have already entered it. Um, Germania Formatica is right there, and that one is a little low, more normal. Acromencia is high. Oh, interesting. Uh, Generally, Acromencia is viewed as being a good one, and I'm surprised that their ranges are so low, but that depends on their next one is probably one we already have done. Agafa recto is right there, and that's normal, normal, normal. Normal. Can't do anything about it. Now let's try the angel, or there we have it, and gaga. That one is high, about 3 times, 2 or 3 times. And next one is normal. Bunch of no matches. Then we get back down to Blottia, which we have already done. And we have next one is probably the Dubansa, right, which is here, and we have that one high. Nothing else showing up there. Then we have another nonsense one we skip over for the human propensity. Normal, normal. Senegal, there we have that one being again very high. Vulgaris, common is normal. More nonsense. More normals, double normal, normals. We have another one, Copernicus, there, which is just a genus by itself. And that one we have as very high. Our stripes, we have normal, so we've got nothing to do there. Nonsense, nonsense, normal. And now we go down to look for Blaster. Now, one thing you can do if it gets stuck is Control F, BLAST. There we have it. That's the easy way sometimes to find is just do a search for it, and that one is very high. And next one is, oh, there again. Let's try that one by the same way. OSC I OC I there we have. And you notice it jumps to the top, and that is because we have two reports on it, depending on your definition. We have a normal or we have a slightly high. So we'll mark this one slightly high. And now I'm going to try finding where I was by typing in the name for the next one. EIS. And there we find it. Again, using search on the page is a sweet characteristic, and that's normal. So at least we're back to where we were. More normals, more normals. Now we have Streptococcus peri, which you can spot here, and that one we have very high. Okay, skip, 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 skip. Bacterius follis, which happens to be the next one down, and this one is very high. Slackia is next, and that's normal. Now we go down and we look at the next one that shows up, and Agar is something which I think we have already done. Feasum we have done. We are now there we have Colinia. It's the next one I spotted on the list, and that one we find it is high. Everything else is somewhere earlier on the list or cannot find. I'm sorry for that little joy. Again, sometimes they duplicate things. They don't put everything together right together. Sequencing is the same. So what we have here is that's normal, normal, and don't see that in there, and normal, normal. Again, I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that in here and search for it. We already have it in there, so it's already there. Notice that's right at the beginning. This is part of your frustration with reading these reports. They put things everywhere. Let's take the next one. And the next one is there, and it is a continuation. So now we are back to where we are again. Apologies for actually that's just less than double there. And next one is back in there, and that one is again a high and high, and we have that one being normal. So, as I said at the beginning, there is a bunch of things which are very frustrating in terms of doing the entry, and that is something I have no control over, and that is the fact that they duplicate things all over the place. They use the thing, here we find the next one, which is fermented, is over here. So we have that bacteria there, but it's normal. And now we go to the next one, which is Limbonesis, which I do not find anywhere. It may again be one of these problem names. The further down the list, the more confusing it will literally get. Uberans ramus. There we go. So we right there. So we have that being normal, and we could just sit back if we want to check to see to make everything else before that is normal. Butyric viva is the next one down, and that one we find it is just high. Holdomenia, I remember I saw that earlier, so we don't have to worry about that one. Osenia, that one's normal, nothing there. And we continue onwards with this rather lengthy process, and as you can see, it does take time. It takes half an hour to 45 minutes to do one entry. And if you had used Biome site, com, which is UK-based form that ships worldwide, then it's a single click and all the data comes across. So Biome site gives you much more data for the buck, and also it makes this process so much simpler, and you actually get a lot more than what we can do from here. So we next look at the negative ones, negative status, which is high, and it is a double high. And Parabolta is also high. And that one is normal. So we are knocking them down. Lactospira, normal, 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 normal. Adius, Andreas, Haggis is down there. And that one is very low. And Hungary is the next one that's normal. Normal. You actually look forward to normals. Then we find the next one, and that one is low and just a little low. And now we have that one is another one which is low and just a little low. And that one's again another low, just a little low. Okay, and the next one is the one I was looking for. You see, this first name doesn't show up there, but if you take a look at the last name, you see, wait a minute, there it is. And there's been a rename of the bacteria, and the official NCBI name is that. So we now have the name, and this one was high, and we just marked that as very high. And now we go down and we look at the next one, which is this one here, which is on the right, and we have no, so there's nothing to do for that one. And more normals. And also back to, I'm pretty sure we already done that one. And there we have the next one. And that one is normal. Okay, so at least we know where we are. So now we're on to Chipper, which is there. And notice the intermittent concealer isn't on the list on the left, which implies it's further up the list. So generally, if you can see what the next one on the list is, you can determine whether or not it's to skip it or not. It should be just above. If not, then it's probably way above. So we go on. Next one we see is Corynebacter, which is high, and that is the usual, very high. Blottia is not there, again, because that is already done. And now we have another stack of there, Cosposis. We don't see that. And again, we only focus on the abnormal. That was an easy page. So we end up, okay, we are here, and one of the normal Condensa, which we always have talked about. Here we have another one which is normal, but we now have that as reference on the page. And I'll just mark that so I know where on the page we have gotten to. Hey, I can see the end of the page. So, so we are that one was normal, normal, no match, no match. Normal, 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 no match. And we have Matera. There we have it. And that one is good question. Is that high or not high? I'm going to just put it high. notice the numbers are the same, but they say it's high. I'll leave that for you to contemplate the philosophical questions involved. And then Marvin, which I always think of Marvin on the Martian from the cartoons, and that one we'll put as very high, the usual when we have double zeros. And that's it. We may have missed something, or may have something out of sync. We probably have something out of sync. I know what that one. This one here, the Blatia, actually comes way from the beginning, and that one was normal, and I'll get that shifted so it's in the right location. Um, so there was a data entry. Okay, so we have done it. It is now half an hour of work. That's unfortunately the reality. And now we put in your email, etc. Date sample was done. You don't need to do this. You can go on and put a note there, walkthrough, whatever, and just do it so you anonymously, or you can put in a name. So I actually going to put in some email names at this point in time. Then I'm going to click do analysis. I am going to hide that process. And now you're on your customization page. It gives the name of the lab so you can make sure. And now you have ability to add suggestions, whatever. And I'm going to go and just bump that up to 50 things to take and 50 things you should avoid if you are doing it. And we have a variety of things. By putting in your email, you can come back later to this page and do everything. So I'm just going to go straight through. I'm going to skip antibiotics, drugs, non-drug. I'll toss that in for things, but generally the things are pretty. Actually, I'm going to just drop in prescription other because often people are on some prescription drugs, and it's nice to know whether or not they are good. And actually, I'm going to click everything there, and now I'm going to proceed to click get suggestions. Okay, there was a temporary bug showed up there which I just fixed, and that is there. So it basically gives you a summary here of the range, um, and now it specifies things that should take, and the higher the number, the better it is, and everything gets scaled for one being the worst. And what we have is the top choices are all antibiotics, and the CFS after it is ones which have been used in studies to have a reasonably good success rate for chronic fatigue syndrome long COVID. The fact that they showed up at the top may indicate something about the person's condition. And then we have other things like grain alcohol. If a person has chronic fatigue, they probably don't. So you end up doing there to go down, and you can see we have there, and we have a lot of things being antibiotic oriented. Now, we could, if we want, go back, just click back because it opens in a new page. Let's just remove antibiotics from it. Let's remove prescription over, and let's go and get suggestions again. And let's this time return it to just the old 30. And now I recalculated, and there we have the new calculation. And we have ginger, chicory, sucrose, spinida, iron supplements being suggestions. And then over here we have things which are to be avoided. The Again, what we are doing is we're doing best efforts based on the data we have. And since almost everything is given vaguely, it's not a complete microbiome sample we have. We do, however, for commercial probiotics, find at the bottom ones which will have a positive impact on the person. There we have things which will have a negative impact, and then we have mixed to no impact. So some of these things will probably be helpful if it's positive number. If it goes negative, it's probably more unhelpful. So I will, at that point of time, leave things are there. You will get an email with a link to log back into the site, and I should show you that there is a little bit of a mischief here, so I'm going to go in. Show hopefully without exposing too much personal information. So this is what the login back to the site will be, and actually this should have, right, transcribe samples is here, and transcribe samples, most of these things don't apply to transcribe sample, only with transferred and block one. So you can just go here, click suggestions, and it will go and reproduce the suggestions you have from last time, or pretty close to it. Or actually, I think it does a canned format, but you can take a look at it, and you can work from there. Or if you go back, actually, probably don't need to go back. The other option is you go to the old UI. Apologies for not having it as slick. And go to samples. And there you have suggestions and reviews. So if you click suggestions here, you get back to this menu, so you can do a second or third or fourth run stuff. Again, it's not as smooth and easy as transferring data from Biome site, which is absolutely the sweetest. But that's how you go about this whole process, and I just spent 40 minutes doing the process. Condolences for taking so long, but the real bottleneck is the lab report itself. If the lab is willing to automate sending the data across to me, I'll gladly implement it for free. So you need to nag your lab to add the ability to transfer data. Bottom side transfer it automatically across when asked. Your lab could do the same. It's a very simple process, and it will probably drive their business if you do so. But that's up to you, their customer, to nag them to make their life easier. Or alternatively, you want over to Biome site, who already has the pipeline well set up and 10 more features. Okay, I think I'll do it at that.